Hello YouTubers, Jim from Ohio here, and it's mid-July in Ohio and it is hot outside today. It's well into the 90s and it's really too hot to do anything outside. I don't have any projects inside to work on right now, so I thought I'd make a real quick video and pull something out of the basement that I've had stored away for a long time. I go to a lot of auctions, actually they're online auctions, but I come across a lot of really interesting items. And one of the things I picked up a couple years ago was this item right here. This is a Solavore sun oven. And the company Solavore has since gone out of business, but because I'm interested in anything solar, this was something that I had an interest in, and I've been wanting to build one of my own for a long time and just never really got around to it. And this item came up for auction. The reason it was up for auction is the auction that I visit is a lot of online return items like Amazon sales and things like that. And this item apparently was a return item because the corner right here was broken off, and the broken piece was in the box with it, but that was really all I could find wrong with this whole oven. I simply epoxied that back on there and it's good to go. This oven, the way that it works, it's simply an insulated black box. I'll kind of walk around it here so you can see what it is. It's a wedge shape, so it captures the rays of the sun coming down into it. And it's just an insulated plastic box. And this is something I had planned on building one online out of wood, but I picked this one up for I think $16 or $17. I think it retails for a couple hundred, and I could never really bring myself to spend a couple $100 for something that I may or may not use very much. But it's real simple the way they work. It's just like the way your car heats up in the sun on a warm day when the windows are up. It has a plastic top on it, and let me kind of take it apart to show you how it works. There's simply these spring clips up at the top and at the bottom that hold the cover on it, and I'll just go ahead and pop all of those off here. And the lid itself is simply a 2 layers of clear plastic, and this is really cheaply built. You can see just packaging tape, it looks like, holding that inside layer, but there's 2 layers of plastic there creating an air pocket in between, and I guess that gives insulation to the lid. But the box itself, there's not anything to it. It's just black on the inside, black on the outside, and it did come with 2 of these kettles, and then it also came with this thermometer. And I've had this sitting out in the sun now for, I'm going to guess, about 20-25 minutes, and you can see on the thermometer it's already up a little over 200 degrees inside of this oven before taking the lid off. And because it's too hot to do anything outside, and I don't want to really heat up the house by cooking anything, turning on the stove, I figured I'd go ahead and get this thing out of the basement that's just been sitting there collecting dust, and I'd give it a try and see how well it works. As I mentioned, it came with 2 of these kettles, and what I did, I went ahead and just put some water in it when I set this thing up, and I don't see any steam coming off. Well, actually, I do see a couple little bubbles coming up in there. So it may be pretty hot. Let's hit it with a digital thermometer and see what it says the temperature is in there. It says 158 degrees. Yeah, it looks like the oven's doing what it was meant to do. But what I thought I'd do as a first test of this oven is I picked up this package of red beans and rice at the grocery store, and this is one of those instant things. It's already got the seasoning in it, and I think the rice and the beans aren't, they're probably the already cooked stuff, so it's not supposed to take that long. I think you'd normally cook it on the stove for about 20-25 minutes, it says, and then fluff it. Now, I know heating anything by the sun is going to take longer than it would on the stove top. So I'm going to just go ahead and put it in here, leave it for a couple hours, and see what it looks like later on. So the directions say to use, I think, 3.5 cups of water. Every video that I've seen online, when they cook stuff, they usually add a little bit of extra water just because it takes longer and it gives more opportunity for some of that water to evaporate as it heats up. So I think I added about 1/3 of a cup, a little more than 1/3 of a cup more, but I'm going to just go ahead and heat this up, put the lid back on it, and see what it looks like. Now, with the lid off of this box, I can see the inside temperature of this oven has already dropped down. It was above 200 degrees, and now it's down on a little lower than 175. So apparently, keeping the lid on this is important. So I'm going to go ahead and well, let's put the lid back on our kettle in here. Looks like that it's pretty hot, but I think I can pick it up with my hands. So we'll go ahead and do that and go ahead and put the lid back on the sun oven here. And I don't really know if these clips make a difference. I imagine if nothing else, it'll keep the wind from blowing off. A little bit hard to get on there and hold the camera at the same time. But this oven did come with a set of reflectors as well. And I guess the reflectors are something that you would want to use during the winter time, just to capture more sun when it's lower, at a lower angle in the sky. And I do have the reflectors back here. And these reflectors, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to blind the camera there. But as you can see, the reflector kind of unfolds. These are just pieces of shiny metal, and they're connected via just small zip ties. And these are cut in a certain angle so that it forms the shape that would clip on the top. And this is equipped with just some spring clips that you can use. But all of the videos that I've seen about this oven online say it works pretty well. And with the sun as high in the sky as it is in July, I don't think that I'll need this. Who knows? After my experiment here, it might be something that I'll want to try the next time around. But I'll go ahead and get that folded back up later on and store it away. But I'm going to go ahead and let this cook in there. Yeah, the thermometer says it's down even a little bit lower now, so it's going to probably take a little bit longer to heat everything up. But I'll check back in just a little while, and we'll see if this puppy works. Okay, we're about 30 minutes into this cooking of the red beans and rice, and I came out just to check on things, and it looks like our temperature is now back up to about 225 degrees in there. I'm not going to take the lid off because I don't want the heat to escape. One of the things that the instructions for this oven did say that as you're cooking, since the sun obviously moves across the sky, to keep the face of the oven facing into the sun with the best angle, what you should do is look at the shadow of the oven on whatever base it's on, and periodically turn it to ensure that the shadow lines up with the sides of the oven. So that is the first time I'm adjusting it. So after about 30 minutes, it looked like it was just slightly off. So I'm going to go ahead and just let it do its thing, and we'll come back again in just a little bit. Okay, we're about an hour into this cooking session, and I'm going to go ahead and open the lid on this and just open the pot and take a look and see how things are going. I don't want it to be overcooked in any way. One of the things you do have to remember to do is get a pot holder. I did reach in there once and, not thinking about it, grab that lid, and it is hot. Well, it's definitely not done. We are going to have to let it go. Looks like quite a bit more. Got a lot of liquid in there, but sure smells good. So we'll go ahead and put the lid back on it, cover it up, and I kind of figured it was going to take at least a couple hours before things are ready, because I know these things don't cook real fast. That is one of the drawbacks. You do have to have time, and the nice thing about it is you can just kind of like Ron Popeil says, set it and forget it. Kinda. You do have to come out, as I mentioned, and make sure it's still lined up with the sun every now and then. But other than that, pretty simple thing. Well, we'll come back in just a little while and see how it goes. Well, here we are, another half hour in. I came out to see if it needed to be adjusted to point into the sun, and looking around, I noticed that it's clouded up quite a bit out here. We do have some open sky, and fortunately that is kind of the path of the sun, but I noticed the temperature of the unit has dropped. Well, it's coming back up to about 200 degrees now, but when I first came out here it was a little below that, and a cloud was right in front of the sun. So I'm not going to open the lid right now. I don't want to let any of that heat out. I'm hoping we don't go hungry today. We'll have to see how it goes. Hopefully the clouds will stay away enough to at least get this finished up. We'll check back in just another little while. Well, I had a thought. Because of all of the cloud cover that we're having, I thought that maybe I should go ahead and put the reflector on there. That way it would heat things up faster. And immediately after putting the reflector on, I saw the temperature inside went up from, it was just under 200, and it's been only about 3 or 4 minutes since I put the reflector on, and we're already up to 225 degrees. So I think that might be the key to making this work in cloudy weather. And you can see the reflector just simply connects with these spring clips going down to the other clips that hold the plastic in place. Got a couple of those at the top and a couple at the bottom, but yeah, it seems to definitely be making a difference with the reflector. So we'll go ahead and leave that in place and test her out, see what happens. Okay, it has been about 2.5 hours now, and with these reflectors on, the temperature has stayed pretty much constant, right around 250 degrees. After I went back in the house, I did go online and take a look at a couple things with this oven, and what I found was that these spring clamps, instead of connecting to the clamps that hold the lid on it, there's actually a couple holes in each corner. And that's where you mount this, and that way you're able to pop off these spring clamps right here and take the lid off, and the reflector will stay attached to the lid. So I did go ahead and make that change, and things have been cooking right along, and so we're going to go ahead and try to lift the lid off of here, and hopefully that, I think I'm going to have to maybe put the camera down for this part to lift that off. It is a little bit heavier and more awkward with the reflector on here. Let me put the camera down for a moment. Okay, as soon as I took that lid off of there, a rush of a little bit of steam and warm air did come out, and the smell is just incredible. I can definitely smell those beans and rice cooking away in there. So, oh yeah, it's looking, oh yeah, that's done. That is definitely ready to go. So it looks like this experiment worked. We've got something to eat for dinner, and we didn't even have to heat up the house. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take this inside, and I'm going to enjoy some red beans and rice. Thanks for tuning in. If you have enjoyed this or want to see more, give me a thumbs up down below, and be sure to click that bell that's also down below to subscribe to my channel. And I'll be doing some more videos similar to this, and plenty of other homesteading videos in the future. So this is Jim from Ohio signing off. Take care and enjoy your weekend.